Right then, welcome back to another video. Today, we're doing the history of the United and City rivalry. We've done Leeds. We're probably going to do Liverpool as well, but I thought for the history of the United and City rivalry, who better to ask than my granddad? So thanks to my granddad, John, for joining us. You all right?
Fine, sir. No problem.
Right then, so this rivalry dates back almost a century and a half, with the first game dating back all the way to 1881, where both teams were formerly called Newton Heath and West Gorton. The teams have played in 187 matches in all competitions. United have won 77, City 56, and the remaining 53 have been draws. Amongst the most successful clubs in England, between them, they've won 94 honours, 66 for United, 28 for Manchester City. So although United fans would argue that the North West derby is probably the bigger game, I think every City fan, I think every Blue, would probably say that United is their main rivalry. Absolutely obsessed with us. It is a bitter rivalry right now, but that wasn't always the case, and it's really been reignited with the resurgence of City as one of the top teams in England, which they actually did used to be towards the back end of the 60s. But right now, at the moment, you're looking at Manchester City's league, and United in the doldrums where we are. We have to get back on top. But following their 2008 takeover and the money that's been ploughed into them, City are currently the team to beat in England. But I wanted to talk to my granddad because something happened in the past which changed the perspectives, and it changed the football going sort of routines, and it sounds alien. And me and you spoke about this on Tuesday, didn't we? That it sounds alien now, even saying it, but it was a thing. And what was that thing?
Well, just to go to each match with City fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, as a lifelong Manchester United fan,
Yeah.
would go to Old Trafford one week and then main road the following.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Hardwick in Manchester, and obviously you played in the street with all different boys at different ages, and when it all started, for me anyway, early 50s, it was just a natural thing. It was going to the match. Well, I'm going to Old Trafford. I'll come with you. And it didn't matter if we were City or United. We ended up even into our 40s, which was a long time. About 14 of us. Every week we made it on the left of the scoreboard at each ground. Main Road and Old Trafford. You might not. I worked away a lot, so we might not have seen each other for a long time. But that was the place to go, even if they were City fans. I'd go to Old Trafford and go on the left of the scoreboard and be there. And so, at the same Main Road, never thought much about it at all.
Which is alien for me as a younger generation fan. My first game was 1990. Obviously, that tradition. When do you think that? You said it was about 82. You stopped doing it, but when do you think that died out for everybody?
It was dying. It was obviously dying in it. It was about 82. I was about 40. Yeah. I didn't go a lot, obviously, because I worked away, but I kept in touch. My brother took me first in 1950. I kept in touch with him, so I'd know if they were still going and where they'd be. And for him, it never seemed to have gone. Man, he died in 98. But a terrible thing, that, isn't it? They won the treble in that year after him going all them years. But anyway, yeah, he told me it was dying out when I was working away in the 80s. I was working in London, actually. And he said, I'll be there, and obviously, so I used to go and see him there. But you're talking 85, 86 then, when he said it was dying out. Mm. So I don't know what had happened, really. But you've got to remember that it'd be the City fans that had dried it out. We were still there. And obviously, when they stopped going to Old Trafford, you stopped going to Main Road.
So my experience of United and City rivalry is it's been a largely jealousy-driven thing from Manchester City side. Modern fans, people that have been going in the last few years, might say it might have flipped, and they might have a point, in all honesty. But me being a fan of the 90s and into the 2000s, City was always kind of seen as a joke.
Especially in the 90s.
Yeah. But in the 60s, in the 50s, That wasn't always the case, was it? City was a competitive team, a strong team.
Oh yeah, especially 68 and that. Obviously, they won the title. We were second, by the way. Yes, there was a good side. Allison and that. They give United a good run at the time. But of course, like they always do, they don't last today. You know, like Blackburn.
Yeah, they came
in, won the league with Shearer and all that, and never heard of them again. I don't know where they are now. Man, yeah, that's terrible of me, really, but there you go.
The tradition of going watching with your mates in the opposition ground, it's not going supporting City, is it?
No. Oh, no.
Because that's what I think some people are going to conflate the two things. Going watching the game isn't supporting the team.
No, we'd go, well, obviously we'd go to Main Road, and but it'd be great. We'd go when everybody was playing. It was just because we was meeting for the match. But no, you never support City. Later on, I suppose, with Liverpool coming out, they might support or wish that City had win against Liverpool. But no, you never support City, really. You'd go to see Tottenham and Arsenal and all these people if he was going, especially if they was playing at Main Road. They were great sides anyway, Tottenham and all that, especially in the early 60s.
Yeah, that was their double winning team, wasn't it?
Double side, yeah.
I've tried to sort of rack my head around what this might have been like, but I think the best way I could describe it, and let me know if you agree on this, is with Sky and BT and so many games being available on TV.
It's a big thing, yeah.
I don't need to go to any
yeah.
of them grounds to see those teams. I can sit at home.
Yeah.
You know,
and especially just in recent time, because City has been doing very, very well. Very well for City, anyway. And they're on television, so, you know. I mean, it'd be a great thing if we could still meet up with them lads, even if it was in your house, to watch on the telly, you know. Yeah. But, it's a TV thing now, and obviously that's why Sky, they nearly have run the league, and when people's kicking off, and that's the style, isn't it? But I'm sick about it, actually.
It was a friendship group thing rather than, it wasn't a supporting Manchester City.
That's right.
So for people of my generation, we might go to the pub. United might not be playing. We might be playing tomorrow. We might have played yesterday. If we go meet up in the pub and there's a match on, let's say City are playing Spurs, for example, like they were last weekend. We was having a drink upstairs. We had the game on. There's City fans in there. There's Tottenham fan in there as well. And we're taking the piss out of them.
Yeah.
And that was the case.
Oh,
You'd got to Main Road, see Jimmy Greaves bag a couple.
A few in. Oh, yeah.
And take the piss out of the City lads.
Yeah, and really, because I remember a lad coming in, I hadn't been to the match, obviously, not long ago, really. And he came running in and jumped, fist in the air and things like that. And we can make a difference to the league, he says. And they just got battered by our rivals, Arsenal. And I couldn't believe him. And he's a real City fan. But they got battered at Main Road. And he coming jumping in saying, we can make a difference to the league. Think about that. Can you imagine a United fan doing that?
No.
Well, getting battered at home and going into a pub and saying, yes. It didn't even stop us winning the league that year, you know. He should have said that if we lost the league later on. But yeah, you know, it's a funny rivalry, you know, Manchester. You might be better off supporting Altrincham or something. Keep out of trouble.
When hooliganism started in the 70s, what sort of impact did that have on you guys watching the matches together? Did it have any impact, or was it?
Well, as I said earlier on, we met at both grounds at the scoreboard end. And if you think about that, at Old Trafford, there was no trouble there.
No, there's no. And for anyone who's
Stretford end.
If anyone's not reading between the lines, there's no trouble there because you're not getting anywhere near it, are you?
No. And still by then, I suppose, and for all the time I went in that era, in 40s and 50s, it was the Dockers area. So they wouldn't cause trouble down there, no. honest.
Do you think hooliganism in the 80s was a major reason for it dying out? Because it almost seems like the hooliganism of the 70s almost was like an innocent, fun sort of bit of
I
trouble.
think it started that way, yeah. I think it started that way.
It got nasty, didn't it? I think
It got very nasty in the 70s, yeah. No doubt about that. By the end of the 70s, it was nasty. And they didn't get a grip of it, really, the grounds. I mean, you'd go to places and, all right, they had big security at Old Trafford and that, and the police presence, but you'd go to some grounds and there was nothing. And if United's playing there, they might have a few stewards telling you where to go, but you could see by him he wasn't going to fight you. So the lads kicked off, and that was that. Young lads, like. I mean, he was 16 and 17-year-olds, because he was in about 1,000 lads down there. He was big lads. Old Trafford, it was all down at Stratford and nothing down Schoolboard then. I think it was the same at Main Road anyway. Was it the Kippax Street end or something like that? Yeah, Kippax.
Oh, that was the main stand, wasn't it?
No, it was a standing area.
Was that behind the goal?
No, the main stand was behind the tunnel, like, obviously. But I think the Kippax Street was facing that. It was a long one. It wasn't behind the goals. But I can remember it, and that was a trouble area, Kippax. Still now to do with the scoreboard end, which was great.
When United were successful in the 90s, and City did almost become a bit of a joke, that's where that little old City and almost everything that they do that looks like it might be good always seems to fall apart for them, didn't it? They got relegated in the middle of the 90s. They got relegated again, I think, 2001.
Yeah, it was a blow, that, because the guy that had him, Joe Royle, I liked him, and he just couldn't get going, that's all. But if you remember, in the 90s with City, they changed managers. It was unbelievable.
I think they had 20 odd, I think, in the time Fergie's
I remember a month saying where United had two, I think. They'd had 14. It was unbelievable, really. Mind you, they have been long-serving managers, except for the old Farrell and all that era. But yeah, it was a shame, really, with Joe Royle. He'd come into a place there, I bet he couldn't believe it.
In the 90s, because of the intensity of the rivalry, they would always seem to be a bit of a thorn in our side, don't they? Like we didn't have it all our own way with those Manchester derbies in the 90s, even though they were terrible.
Well, that's the way it is, isn't it? It's their FA Cup final, isn't it? When small teams play United. Oh, it still is. They'll get beat. I think they have this year, in the FA Cup by nobody, and it's their FA Cup final. And you'll find that most times that a smaller team beats United, they get beaten immediately. They never carry on. A little thing there, like I've said about Blackburn winning the league, 95 was it? Yeah, 95. Bang, he was gone.
Yeah.
They must have collapsed.
Yeah, he sold everyone, didn't he, Jack Walker?
Yeah,
it checked out.
It just collapsed.
With the onset of like Sheikh Mansour coming in, buying Manchester City, turning them into this sort of global powerhouse, has it changed the meaning of the Manchester derby for you at all, or is it just the same old?
No. The only thing that's changed for me anyway is the way they play now. They blame the Americans. It's not to do with Americans. They have a board there, and that guy Woodward, is it?
Gone now.
But that's what's done it for United in the last few years. Managers have asked for players, and he's not bought them. Why? Because he spent money. Spent more money on someone else that he don't want. But the managers have, and this year it's just unbelievable, isn't it? They've got a manager in that's temporary. What are you talking about? The players don't want to know him because he's going in a bit. He's a temporary manager at Old Trafford. That's it. That's our trouble now.
Yeah, I don't have the confidence that they'll appoint someone quickly at the end of the season either. I think it'll linger on and drag on.
And if they don't get rid of him quick, I think he'll lose after. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad man either. But
he's done all right.
But he must be sick as a parrot. He's got to leave it all. Yeah. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? Not to have a permanent contract and a big manager.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up then, what is the meaning, what does the Manchester derby mean to you and to the people of Manchester, do you think? Both sides?
Everything as long as United win. No, it's great, and it's great for every town, you know, to have a rivalry with a team in the town. It must be unbelievable in London, put it that way. You know, they got how many teams? They've got 5 or 6 teams in it.
Do you think any of them, Spurs and Arsenal aside, there doesn't really necessarily, to me at least, from looking from the outside, doesn't seem as anything as intense as what we have here? Because there's so many, it kind of dilutes it.
No, in London you can't, can you? Because there's too many of them, really. It's sort of north-south of the river, really, isn't it? United's just got 2 big teams, haven't they? So it's and Liverpool, Everton is a big thing. I mean, I worked in Liverpool once. I couldn't believe it. You know, the flags of Liverpool, and then stopping all of a sudden at all Everton in the same area. And I haven't even seen that in Manchester. But yeah, different teams. You get out of it because you've got like Blackburn, and you think Burnley and that area, Preston, not far away. You think they don't have the rivalry because they're not the town, are they? Manchester United and Manchester City are rivals proper, aren't they? It's Liverpool and Everton. Yeah, I think it's bad for all the other towns. Sheffield United, I forgot about them. Sheffield Wednesday were great one time, but I think it is bad for towns that don't have the name, like Liverpool and Everton actually. But you know, Manchester, Sheffield, and that they've got the name, haven't they? So it's a big rivalry, that, isn't it? The name. No, we're Manchester, no, they're not. And United's proved they are.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of that myth. I mean, obviously, you've lived in Manchester your whole life. It is a myth how many fans City have got. It's not a catchphrase, is it? They are a smaller club. No, you can take that whatever way you want.
They've been great in the last few years because of this Mansour and all that. But they've proved themselves small because of the fans.
Yeah.
I remember your dad going to watch a match at Etihad, and they was laughing at him there. They paid a £5 or £6 or something, where he'd paid 30 quid to get, and there's a railing separating them. And it made him care, your dad, like, you know, but think about that. They've done that to get the fans in, and the kids were free. That's right, the kids were free on the 10 or something. And the ground was full because of this, and they were laughing at your dad, and he was going, so what? You know, they got battered, so what? That's all he needed. Pay 30 quid every week to do that.
Yeah.
But that's that.
Right. Hopefully we've educated a few people on that thing of going to United, to Old Trafford and to Main Road at the same time, because it feels like an alien concept. Like, you can't imagine it now. Like, if you heard of anyone that was doing that now, you'd think they were strange, wouldn't you?
Well, I wouldn't, obviously. I went there that long, didn't I? You know, with the City fans. No, I wouldn't think it was strange. I think great. I hope it all comes back. And you need it at Main Road anyway, at Etihad, you know, to get the crowd in.
But to put it in a modern perspective, it's almost kind of like going to the pub. Because you got to remember at the time, when did Match of the Day start? Was it about 64?
Oh, like a long time ago, yeah.
So prior to Match of the Day, if you was a football fan and you only went to your home games, because away travel wasn't big, was it, at the time?
Oh, no, it's not. No, it was a lot of money. Plus, most people work Saturdays.
Yeah. So you only got to go to your local team because it was right there. If you can't travel to watch away games, which means that your home team's only going to be there every other week. And if you're a football fan, a self-confessed football fan, the only chance you've got of seeing any football is the occasional tournament broadcast on television or every other week at your home ground. So I think it makes a lot more sense when you understand the logistics of travel and you understand, you know, the lack of technology and television and broadcasting. Yeah, if you've got Spurs coming up in the league, you want to know if Spurs are any good. Well, actually, they're playing at Main Road next weekend. Well, United are away at Newcastle. I'm not getting at Newcastle. I'm going to go watch Spurs because United are going head-to-head with them in 3 weeks at Old Trafford.
Yep.
That's the only way you're going to find out, is Jimmy Greaves any good?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
So I think it's easy to understand like that, but from a modern fan perspective, I couldn't think of anything worse. But again, I guess it's not it isn't going supporting, it's just going watching football, I guess. Well, there you go.
But don't forget as well, them lads I was with was all older than me. And them lads ended up all in the Army, Navy or Air Force because it was call-up time.
Yeah.
So they was friends as well.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So I guess it's almost like a look at a completely different world, isn't it? But cheers, as always, for coming and joining us. Get your comments and questions in. And if anyone's got any questions that you want me to follow up on, I'll speak to my Grandad and I'll do a follow-up video for any of those on Patreon. But cheers for checking it out. Manchester Derby this weekend. I'm not confident. What's your score prediction for this weekend?
I think it'd be a draw.
Really?
Yeah. If it was Una Coopens these days, I'd do a draw.
I think that's optimistic, to be honest. We're not playing well. But cheers for tuning in. We'll catch you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.